dance video, okay, as I spit up on y'all. Look, this was by very, very, very popular demand. I apologize for my appearance if my lips look a little crusty, dusty. I done had many eats. Y'all know I eat every couple of hours. I've been shooting all damn day. I haven't refreshed not a motherfucking thing. However, if you do want to know what the fuck is on my face and the lippy and all that good shit, it is in my new monthly favorites. I know my monthly faves. And hell to the nows. Okay, those are a couple of newer videos that just went out. And when I say there was a whole shit ton of shit, there was a whole shit ton of shit in the videos that y'all need to make sure y'all check out. So I will leave those videos down below. If not, they're on said channel, and they are the 2 videos that uploaded right before this one, right up and through here. Okay. So your girl went ahead and got on Periscope, which if you guys have not gotten a Periscope account, you need to, because literally you will be able to live stream with me on a regular, and other people too. It ain't even just about me or whatever, but if you're on Periscope or you want to get Periscope or you want to just shoot the shit with your girl on some live shit unlimitedly, okay, I done made up that word. I'm at Socialite Sandy, all right, on Periscope, so follow your bitch, right? So anyway, I was talking to my peoples on Periscope. Hey everybody, hey fam bam. And talking to them about topics to bring up on the YT for my next question answer. And this happens to be a topic that a lot of people hit me up about throughout my YouTube journey, whether it's this channel, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even on the vlog channel, which you guys know is The Socialite Life TV. It's my daily vlog channel. If you want to check it out and subscribe, do so. And if you haven't subscribed to this motherfucker up and through here, what the fuck are y'all waiting on? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay. Get to it, bitches. Okay, so the biggest topic that has been like the talk of the talk has been marriage and relationships. I get so many questions about that shit. Now, here's the thing. Y'all know I'm long-winded as fuck, clearly, if I'm doing all this introing right now. And I really like to be detailed. I'm anal retentive. I like to know what's what and all the goods and all the shit. So I gave myself a limit, and really I didn't give myself the limit. The motherfucking card on the camera gave me a limit. I only have like 23 minutes to get through this damn video. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, of course, and give it a real deal Holyfield. Everything I say is always going to be unfiltered. It's going to be raw. It's going to be uncut. But the most important thing is that shit's going to be real than a motherfucker, like I always do. The other side of it is, though, of course, is this is just advice. So whatever questions I answer, if I answer them, please don't come back at me talking about, I did what you told me to, and now I ain't in no relationship no more. No, bitch. I said, whenever I do these advice videos, it's just what I would do in this scenario. Of course, you are your own person. You do as you wish. However, I can provide some insight because I have not only been in a relationship, but I'm also currently married. Okay. So we're going to go through the many questions you guys sent my way on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for commenting, leaving questions and all that shit. As we go through this video, if there's anything you guys want me to say or put in my next question answer video, I plan to do these either weekly or every other week. Leave those questions down below. And if you're looking for a specific topic for me to go into in my next question answer video, I'm always looking. So please leave those comments down below. Y'all know I don't see these questions beforehand, but there's a shit ton of them. So we're just going to go through some of these, and we're going to get as many done as I possibly can. And if I need to do a part 2, I will most definitely shoot a part 2 for said video. All right? Because there's a lot. And there's some really interesting questions just from the few that I did see, okay? So I'm actually on my iPad mini. That's what I'm looking at over here as I look to see what's going on. Keep in mind, you do not have to ask me questions specific to my relationship. They can be general questions. It's totally okay. You don't have to feel like you got to know specifically about me, because y'all know I always give you guys scenarios based on my experiences, okay? So here we go. First question is from Toy Doll 3. How do y'all handle social media as a couple? Thank you so much for the question, honey bunny. Okay, so I got a lot of questions like this or very similar to this on Instagram, and some of which were related to social media, generally speaking. Some of which were related to YouTube, because you guys know that Juice and I daily vlog, and we let you in our day-to-day lives and that kind of thing. So I'm going to pretty much give you an all-encompassing answer for all those questions. Y'all, look, your girl used a big word and shit. Okay, so I think there's a place for certain things on social media with relation to couples. And there's a place where, there's things that should not be placed on social media. And when I say social media, I mean any social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, any of that shit. I have a tendency to kind of abstain from going overly personal with shit. The shit that I share with you personally is shit that I want to share with you personally, that the hubby doesn't mind me sharing with you personally, because I'm not going to do anything that's going to get him upset, and vice versa, okay? But it's when you let people in way too much into your personal life that it can get real messy, and it becomes even more complicated for the couple. I've seen, even on YouTube, I see that there are a lot of couples that are on YouTube that are vloggers, for instance. A good example, vloggers that aren't married. And the reason why I'm saying that is because personally, if I had to kind of categorize the type of couple that I think would be better suited for a YouTube type situation, personally, I would say someone who's in a more marriage situation, a couple that's married, I think is more suited for YouTube. And I'm not at all negating anybody who is daily vlogging or showcasing their lives and they have a boyfriend or whatever, but it's those who have like actual channels devoted to their relationship, and they're actually just in a relationship, as in they're in a committed relationship, but they're not necessarily married. Here's why I think it can be complicated, though. Let me explain why that's the case. Because now you're in a relationship, and that's great, and you guys may be together forever, and that's fine. But you may also be in a situation where you guys don't make it, and then comes, how do you explain it to everybody that's on YouTube? How do you explain it to everybody that's on social media? How do you not let too much information out there when y'all do break up? Who's going to get the YouTube channel when it's all said and done? I just feel like if you're going to do YouTube in the sense of documenting on a continuous basis your day-to-day life, I would say do that when you're married, okay? I know that sounds so odd, and I watch plenty of vloggers, and again, this is not negating anybody who does daily vlog or vlog on a continuous basis showcasing their boyfriend, but when you have a YouTube, this is specific to people who have a YouTube channel devoted to themselves as a couple and they're not married. Does that make sense? And I mean, it has nothing to do with them doing anything wrong. I just feel like it can get complicated. What if you guys don't last? What if you guys, especially for those that are in younger relationships, you know what I'm saying? Younger as in not age younger as in you've only been together for maybe just a few months or a year or two. Things can happen. Y'all can break up at any point in time. It's a little more difficult to get out of a marriage than it is to get out of a relationship, because either one of y'all have to do is go back to your respective crib and be busy, or one moves out or whatever. It's complicated, yes, and it can be, yes. However, I just feel like if you're gonna do YouTube and you're gonna devote a channel specifically to your daily life, I would almost rather think it's a little bit safer to wait until you're in a committed marital type situation. Does that make any sense? I'm not negating, I'm not shitting on anybody who does that, because I am not shady like that at all. This is just a question that was asked and I'm answering, and that's just what it is. So if I was in a relationship with Juice and I was just in a committed relationship, would I have started my daily vlog channel? Absolutely not. Because there's no telling if we would last. There's no telling if we would be together. We could be soulmates in my mind, but a year or two from now, we may not work out. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that marriages can't work out either, because clearly not all marriages work out. Of course, the divorce rate is high and all that kind of shit. Clearly we all know that. But I feel like, I think when you're married, it's just a little bit different. There's typically a higher level of maturity when you're married, and I don't mean maturity age-wise. I mean maturity as in your relationship. Your relationship's a little bit more mature. It can handle a lot more, because when you're on YouTube, you're going to get a lot of scrutiny. You're going to get a lot of bullshit. You're going to get a lot of people all up in your shit. And when you're kind of more unified as a couple legally, it makes it a little easier to handle those situations. Does that make sense? So that's how I feel in regards to social media as a couple. Juice and I, we really just, we know what pisses each other off, so we ain't gonna do not damn thing that's gonna piss each other off on social media, period. We know what things we will not talk about or discuss on social media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. He knows I'm a very outlandish personality. I'm a lot more outgoing, verbally and physically more outgoing than he is, clearly on my social media. But that's something that I've always been that way, and he loves that about me. But I also know there's a limit to as far as I can go with that. I can't take it past that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to disrespect him in that regard and go past that. Okay? So that's how I feel. Okay, because I got a lot of questions. How do you feel about couples on YouTube? How do you feel about social media and couples and that kind of thing? So I hope that answers your question. Okay, this is a really good question, and this is another very, very popular question on the gram. Okay, this is built_on_self_success_boss. Okay, hey anybody. Okay. They ask, how do you set up finances after marriage? Do you share the bills, etc.? 2 bank accounts or shared only? Is it too late to start setting up rules, especially if you've been married for a long period of time? I'm paraphrasing like a motherfucker, but that's basically it. And of course, there were several people that asked about this, and you guys know I'm very specific as to, I guess, my advice to those who are trying to figure out finance in marriage versus people who are setting up finance in a relationship versus those that are living together. There are totally different scenarios for all. However, she's speaking specifically of marriage, so that's what I'm going to address today, although I'll touch on the relationship aspect here as well, okay, because it's part of the equation. With regard to setting up finances in marriage, what my recommendation would be, my recommendation is to make it a point to make sure that things are, of course, as organized as possible, but to allow each other your own independence as well. That's extremely important because people feel as though when you get married, life is over. You got the ball and chain and you can't shuck and jive and do nothing without anyone else's approval in the relationship. And yeah, there are going to be some things that you are absolutely going to have to ask permission for with regard to larger purchases, things that would affect the financial household, the finances in the household, etc., etc. However, each side does deserve to have their own little bit of money to be able to do what they need to do with, whether it's getting gas or getting things for themselves, toiletries or whatever the case may be, getting your hair done if you're a female, getting your hair cut if you're a man, etc., 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 grabbing lunch while you're at work, that type of thing, okay? So my recommendation for married couples with regard to finances is this, okay? Basically what you do is you set up a joint banking account, a joint checking account specifically, okay? You're both gonna have your names on it, all right? That joint checking account is going to be specific to pay for the bills, okay? So you can call it the joint account, that's what we call it here at our household, okay? Or you can call it the bill paying account, whatever you want that account to be, all right? Now, each of you is going to have a certain amount of money that you bring in to the household, right? One may make more than the other. Either way, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take all of your bills and all the things that are definite, your definite bills, your utilities, of course, your mortgage or your rent, the things that you absolutely have to pay every single month or every other week or whatever it may be, you're gonna put that in a column. You're gonna just tally it all up, and you're gonna basically look at how much that is. From then, you're gonna determine how much it is each party is gonna have to contribute to that joint bill paying account to be able to take care of those bills, okay? Of whatever monies you bring into the household. So if you're a two-income household, then you're gonna determine based on probably what each other makes, who gets what portion put into that joint bill paying account, okay? That joint bill paying account is going to be what pays the bills. Period. Nothing else gets paid for out of that checking account. Here's the reason why I always recommend this, okay? The reason for this is because when you get married, especially when you're just adjusting to living together and starting to, share finances and get joint accounts, it's very easy to lose track of what one of the other parties in the relationship did from a financial. So let's say you go get gas, there's $100 in the checking account, your joint checking account, okay? And you go get $50 worth of gas, and your hubby goes out and they swipe their card and they get their gas and it's $75. You only got $100 in the account, but they didn't tell you that they went to get gas for $75, nor did you tell him you went and got gas for $50, because y'all are just swiping the card, running the card, and doing your day-to-day. The problem with that is that when you guys lose track of that, it's very easy to bounce checks. It's very easy to lose track of what's happening in the account. And at the end of the day, it ends up being very, very messy. It ends up having, causing issues. It could cause arguments because it's like, oh, why did you do that? Well, you didn't tell me you spent money on the card. I've seen so many situations happen like that. And to make it that much easier, it's so much easier when you guys just know that every 2 weeks when you guys get paid, this dollar amount, this portion of my check, of each other's check, gets automatically placed in that bill paying account, so it takes care of the bills. The only thing that you pay out of that account is strictly the bills, and that is the only thing that gets paid for out of that account, right? That way all the monies that are needing to be there are there. They're there for the rent, they're there for the electric bill, they're there for whatever needs to be paid for from every single month, okay? After that, Whatever is left over, you can determine from there, left over from each other's checks based on the contribution you guys are putting into the joint bill paying account, all right? Then from there you say, okay, how much of our checks are we gonna put in savings, right? Because you definitely wanna make sure you're saving for a rainy day. My recommendation is to have at least 8 months worth of reserves set aside specifically for if one of y'all loses your job, you wanna make sure you have at least 8 months worth of your entire month's utilities and rent or mortgage or whatever the case may be in case one of y'all or both of y'all lose your job, so you can sustain yourselves for that amount of time at least as you try to find another job, okay? So you want to make sure at that point you want to go ahead and say, okay, how much are we going to be each contributing to our savings account, because you're going to have a joint savings account as well, all right? You're going to make that contribution every check or every month or whatever that is that you determine, okay? And thereafter, okay, you're going to probably have, hopefully, a little bit of money each from each other's checks that you can use for your own personal checking accounts, okay? So you can have your own personal checking account and he can be on it, and he can have his own personal checking account with you on it, but it's your own individual accounts, just in case something comes up and either one has to be able to get into each other's accounts because you're married at this point, right? But so it allows you some freedom and flexibility to get things done that you need to get done. If you need to get gas in your car, it comes out of your checking account, your personal checking account, and then if he needs to get gas in his car to go to work, it comes out of his personal checking account. Now you may have to play with the numbers, because if one person makes more than the other, maybe they make more, the husband makes more, they may have to contribute a little bit to your personal checking account to cover your gas or whatever the case may be. You work that out. It's kind of based on what you guys bring in financially, but I always recommend that there has to be some kind of level of independence, regardless of the fact that you guys are sharing your finances, okay? And it just helps streamline things so there's less of a problem, less issue, less trying to balance checkbooks and figure out who did what and when and why and all of that extra bullshit. Now, I hope I didn't confuse y'all with all of that shit, okay? But it just makes things so much easier to handle. You know what's going on, and your baseline, which is your foundation, which are your bills and the roof that's over your head, those are all taken care of before y'all start dipping and doing other shit. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh shit, I overspent, and you're having to figure out how I'm gonna pay rent or how I'm gonna find the shortage for the money for whatever bill you have to pay, okay? Now, here's the reason why I feel like it's completely different for married couples in finance than it is for committed relationships in finance, okay? Specifically, even those of you that are in a committed relationship, but you might be living together, okay? Because that also makes things more complicated. First and foremost, I do not believe that if you're in a committed relationship with somebody, I absolutely do not believe that you should be sharing expenses, as in having joint accounts and shit. I personally don't think you should even worry about that shit. Keep that shit separate, because here's what's gonna happen. If something doesn't work out in your relationship, then what? Y'all gonna have to go through all that bullshit to kind of separate the accounts and bullshit. What if one of y'all ends up mad at the other motherfucker and the other motherfucker goes and raids y'all's accounts? That's happened before. So why put yourself in that position? Okay? Because reality is, the person you're with, if you're in a committed relationship, non-married, when I say that, non-married does not need to have any access whatsoever to your finances. And neither do you, okay? You guys are still in the building process, the growth process. And the great thing about being in a committed relationship that's non-married is you have complete and utter independence, because when you are married, you do not. Even though you can still be individuals and you can still be yourselves in marriage. I don't want to make it seem like it's a horrible thing, but there are things in marriage that you are going to have to check with your spouse or significant other foe. Okay, versus being in a committed relationship, okay, that's non-married, you don't have to check with the motherfucker for shit regarding whether you go grab something to eat, whether you can get gas in your car, you know what I'm saying? That type of shit. Why complicate things? Why make it more accessible for each other? Now, I do get questions also, this is not a question on here, but I'm going to mention it because it may come up in the comments, if people should share expenses if they're in a committed relationship and living together. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Abso-fucking-lutely not. This is just my personal opinion. Why complicate things? That's my big thing. Why make it even more complicated, okay? But you guys are going to have to determine, if you guys are living together in a committed relationship, non-married, you are going to absolutely have to be able to communicate with each other so that bills are paid, okay? So if you guys are sharing rent, you guys are going to have to determine what it is that each other gives towards that rent, and that each other has that money when the time comes to pay rent, okay? And the great thing about living together, okay, in a committed relationship, the faux marriage, essentially, is you get to kind of find out what this person's going to be like in that type of scenario. So if you have problems with them from a financial perspective before you get married, that's a red flag, boo-boo, okay? So that's the reason why I say there is a difference between finances in a marriage and finances in a committed relationship, or just a relationship generally speaking, okay? I hope I was able to answer your question, and I hope I was able to answer, because there were several questions that were related to that topic, all right? So yeah. There's that. All right, let me go ahead and find another question. I switched cards, by the way, because it ain't gonna be no 23-minute video. I mean, I can't do 23. It's just I felt rushed. Pressure. Okay, here we go. Okay, Nurse Belly 2357 asks, "Hey, honey bunny, what advice would you give other married couples about keeping sex life spicy?" Oh my Lord, there's so much you could say. Especially married couples, but even long-term committed relationships can suffer from this as well, all right? So I don't want to make it seem like only married couples have droughts in their sex life. If you've been with somebody for a prolonged period of time, it can make, things can be redundant, things can get dry, it happens. It's totally normal, and if that's happening in your situation currently right now, do not let that get to you, and I don't want you to feel as though it's abnormal. It is absolutely not, especially when you've been in a long-term relationship. Okay, now there's a lot of things I would recommend. It just really depends on your guys' personality. You're gonna know your significant other more than I would, as far as how far you can take keeping things spicy and really having fun. Y'all know I've shown you guys a lot of shit here on my channel of some of the things that I use to keep things spicy right up and through here. I have a whole playlist for that. If you want to check it out, I'll link it down below so you can check it out. But it's my Ask Sandy playlist here on this channel. So if you look through there, you'll see all them videos where I go into a lot of that. Always keep it fun. When you have fun and you can laugh and you can engage with each other and you can get out and not always be at home and that type of thing, and you can just keep it exciting and try to be as creative as possible, right? That's what helps kind of keep things spicy. The other part of it is too, communication is key. You guys, if it's something where you feel as though you are not getting what you want sexually from your significant other, you need to talk about it, and you need to not be afraid to talk about it, okay? And if you have to get graphic, there's no other person you should be graphic with than with your significant other, because y'all are in a situation where you guys should be open with each other enough to do that. So the biggest thing I would recommend, first and foremost, if there is a situation where you're feeling as though, and I'm not directing this towards you, I'm making it sound like I'm directing it towards you, honey. That's not what I'm saying. You asked a general question. I didn't want to make it seem like it pertains specifically to you. But for those of you guys who may have that question, you gotta talk. You gotta communicate. If you don't feel like you're being sexually fulfilled, this would be the time to go ahead and let your significant other know, look, you ain't feeling my love tank, motherfucker. Like, we gotta work. I mean, don't say it like that, but let them know what you're looking for. Let them know what you're lacking. If the motherfucker don't want to go downtown, let them know, I want you to go downtown. I want you to, you know, lickety, you know what I mean? You want to la 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 la, you know what I'm saying? And if you're, and on the other side of things though too, okay, you should not be offended or upset if your significant other comes to you and says that you ain't giving him head or you ain't really doing it. You know, that this is what the lines of communication are supposed to be about. You're supposed to be able to express those things with each other, and then hopefully from there you guys can kind of say, okay, well, what am I not doing? What do you want to see more of? Oh, okay, you like me to dress up? All right, nurse costume, bitch. Okay. Or if your husband's like not really doing what you want him to do and you want him to go downtown or whatever, there may be some things. Maybe he's not comfortable with it. Maybe that's not his thing. Maybe you might need to help make it a little bit more comfortable. There's all kinds of juices and berries and gels and shit you can use to just help that experience even better and taste a little better too. So keep the lines of communication. That's the biggest thing I would have to say. Keep the lines of communication open. If you have kids or if you have a very busy lifestyle with each other, go on date nights. Get get out, go and enjoy, go to the strip club, okay? That's a whole other topic in and of itself, okay? But if you guys are open like that, go to the strip club, have some fun, you know what I mean? I'm not opposed to that at all. My husband and I have been to strip clubs. I have zero qualms about that. Female strip clubs, y'all know on the scope we talked about male strip clubs. We don't do that. Female strip clubs, and it's fun. But it's not for everybody. And we are a very, very, very comfortable couple with each other, okay? So have fun, make it exciting, and communicate. That's the biggest thing I have to say about that. Okay, so don't hate me. Here's the deal. My battery is dying on this fucking camera. I'm so upset right now. And y'all know I've already gone past the allotted amount of time that I gave myself because I just didn't want this video to be overly long. However, I definitely invite you, continue to send those questions my way down below in the description. If you guys want me to do a part 2, please leave your comments down below. Say, hey, Sandy, we want you to do a part 2. Let me know. Leave the questions you guys want me to answer down below as well. I'm also going to look at these questions too because there's a shit ton more questions that I can answer in a part 2 video. So if you guys want me to do a part 2, I absolutely will do a part 2. Just leave that comment down below. Thumbs up this video if you love seeing these videos from your girl. And before this camera dies, hit me up on Periscope at Socialite Sandy because we do a lot of that interacting there, and then you kind of know what's kind of going on in the world before everybody else does, right? Okay? Hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/SocialiteSandy. Hit me up on my Facebook fan page and my Pinterest page or Instagram at Socialite Sandy. All those links are down below. And you guys already know I absolutely adore y'all. I love y'all to death. Thank you so much for rocking with me. And don't forget, leave your questions down below if you want me to do a part 2. And I will see y'all in the next video. Love y'all. Bye.